towards Jerusalem. But before he goes to Jerusalem, he's got to go through Jericho. He enters the region of Jericho. Jericho is about a half a day's walk from Jerusalem. Jesus knows the land of Jericho very well. Not too far from Jericho, Jesus was baptized in the Jordan River. If you remember, he was sent immediately after baptism into the wilderness to be tempted and tested by God. You remember the story of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan was on his way from Jerusalem to Jericho. This is the same road that Jesus is traveling. Think about it now. Think about what Jesus has been through. Think about where Jesus has been along his ministry and journey. Think about what Jesus has been through up to this time. He's at the top of his ministry game. He's healing, he's teaching, he's preaching, and he's reaching people that have lost hope in life, and his name has spread across the region, and he's now identified as the one that heals and teaches and transforms, but he is identified as the Messiah. Matthew's gospel makes it very clear, because he wants the Jewish people to understand that there's a clear connection in the genealogy between Jesus and David. And now he's essentially referred to as a king. Jesus is, and rightfully so. Jesus has made it clear that he is absolutely unlike no other king that the Jews have known. Jesus is different. And we see here that Jesus doesn't disappoint by veering off course. He in the midst of engaging in grueling ministry, in the midst of engaging in grueling ministry, in the midst of engaging in grueling ministry, Jesus is still preaching, he's still teaching, he's still counseling, he's still healing, he's still transforming, and he's still being present in people's lives. Yeah, Jesus is unlike anybody that they have seen. Have you ever met anybody? Has you ever met anybody that has been through a situation and you're wondering how they're making it through? One of the things that we learn in this story is that Jesus is still willing to meet the needs of others even when death is quickly approaching. Have you ever met somebody that is worse off than you, and they meet them and you find where they are, and even in the midst of their trials, they're ministering to you much better than you are trying to minister to them? Jesus is on his way to Calvary. He knows this, but yet he's still able to minister. Still able to meet the very needs of those individuals that are going through. Remember now, Jesus is acutely aware of his own death and the nature in which he must suffer that death. Now, I know that I got to die. You know that you got to die. We all going to go that road. I just don't know how it's going to happen. But when you know how, where, when, this adds a whole new perspective to the journey in life. This is where Jesus is. He knows he's got to go through. And he knows the pain in which he's got to go through it. And so Jesus is still ministering. Ministry and death are upon the mind of Jesus. And through all of this, Jesus keeps his head up and his mind focused on the importance of his mission. And do you remember what his mission is? Go over to Luke 4, around the 18th verse. Jesus picks up the scroll and he says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has" what? "Anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and" what? "Recovery of sight to the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." That is the mission of Jesus. That was the mission of Jesus, and this may sound strange to some. And others were very real in the sense of saying that the mess of the world can't deter your Savior from his mission that he is on earth. Jesus knew he was going to catch it. Jesus knew he was going to be sneered at. Jesus knew he was going to be mocked by his haters. Jesus knew he was going to be struck by whips and cords. Jesus knew that the people were going to look at him side-eye and wonder, really in the world, what's going on with this one in particular. But I'm here to tell you that the mess of the world wouldn't come between your Savior and his mission in ministry. That is good news for somebody here today, because you're going through some things and you're wondering how you're going to get through. Preacher, I know that this mess is going to interfere with what's going on, but how do you know that the mess wasn't going to get the best of Jesus? Oh, I know because there's three things. Oh, three things, count 1, 2, 3, in the text that support my claim. Come on now, here they are. They are the shout, the shush, and the shift. The shout, the shush, and the shift. Now, come on now. Look at the text. I ain't going to be before you long. Come on now. I need you to support me. Look at the text. Jesus and his disciples are leaving Jericho and now on the way to Jerusalem. But before they can leave, they leave with a large crowd following them along their way. As they are moving, there were two blind men sitting by the roadside. They weren't begging for nothing. They weren't looking for nothing. But when they find out that Jesus is passing on by, they ask, what is all of the fuss about? And immediately, when they find out that the fuss is all about Jesus coming on by, they stand up on their feet and they said, hey, Jesus! Look at us. Now the shout is an expression of elation, excitement, and perceived opportunity. Come on now, work with me. Look now, if this is their chance of being delivered and set free. Oh, if there was ever a time to get set free for these two blind men, the time was right now. Jesus was walking and with his disciples and walking with many people following. They can't see, but they can use their voices to cry out. And the Bible says that they don't use their simple inside voices, but they stop and they climb up and they say, hey! These blind men shouted to Jesus because they were in need, and they knew that Jesus, the Messiah, had what they needed. And because he was the Messiah, they knew that if anyone could fix their situation, oh, it would be this one from Galilee, this one who is doing all that he can to minister for God. They knew about the ministry of Jesus and what he had done throughout the region. He was healing folks. He was making them brand new. Come on now. They wanted a piece of the action too. And when you've been down so long, come on somebody, when you've been down so long and down long enough and stricken with some form of illness or disability, you will do just about anything that you can in order to get yourself well. Am I talking to anybody in here? You will do what you need to do in order to get your healing. They knew about the ministry of Jesus. Their shouts weren't your ordinary shouts. And I'm sure there was some desperation in their voices. Look closer now. The blind men teach us that you just don't direct your shout to anyone. Too many of us, Brother James, many of us are taking our concerns to folks that really can't help us. God says, cast your cares on me, all you who are heavy burdened, and I shall give you rest. When you have a need in a short time frame in which to get that need met, you want to make sure that your shouts get in front of the right people. And rest assured that when you begin to shout in the right places, when you begin to direct your shout to those people that matter, when you begin to direct your shout to the God that saved you, you better believe that you will be shushed. See, when you shush, Sister Gail, you're ordering somebody or something to be quiet. The Bible says that the crowd rebuked them and said, "Be quiet." Now, in order for you to understand, in order for you to understand why that large crowd that was following Jesus might have shushed the blind man and told them to be quiet, you got to know something about this large crowd that is found here now. The large crowd, in the original language, is described as a confused throng. A throng is defined as a densely grouped or packed group of people. Everybody all in one place, confused about what their mission really is. Not only were they a large group, but they were confused as well. You ought to tap your neighbor and say, "Neighbor, don't you ever get involved with a large group that's confused like that." I know y'all don't like that. I know y'all don't like tapping neighbors. I know y'all don't like tapping neighbors. That's why we do it. But you want to tell somebody, don't get yourself caught up in that kind of large crowd. Because you might just find yourself confused, moving in places that you ought not move, doing things that you ought not do, saying things that you ought not say. Oh, you better watch out for that kind of large crowd. Nothing you need to know. Another thing you need to know, Minister Ivy in the house, another thing you need to know is that this large crowd had no particular allegiance to Jesus or those that were even opposed to Jesus, those Pharisees and the Sadducees. When you look at the large crowd found throughout the Gospels, the large crowd is either siding with Jesus or siding with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They're confused about what they really believe in. You need to be following what Jesus has given to you. So this large crowd, they don't know really what is happening. They think that they're following Jesus for one reason, but really there's something else that's going on. See, in this text, they were following Jesus because they thought that the kingdom of God was about to come forth and happen soon and right away. And Jesus, being in the midst of them, was going to lead them and guide them and direct them. They were in the place for that great day, that kingdom coming, that kingdom coming with Jesus would usher in. They thought it was going to happen the next day. So they were shushing the blind men because this large crowd had their own agenda. They want to get to see the kingdom of God, but they're confused about what it is that's really happening. They're too blessed to be stressed about some need like these men desiring to see again. They couldn't care less about these blind men and their need to be well. Look now, every large crowd following Jesus aren't always about the principles and beliefs of Jesus. Has anyone in here ever been in a situation where other folks' agendas and priorities Jesus is still mission-minded and filled with compassion and care for the least of those in society. Yes, his eyes are locked towards Jerusalem, but his nature and character are always held on time for bringing healing to those in need. But look now, in the midst of the shush, there's more about the shout. In the midst of the noise and the people trying to silence you, you need to shout even louder. You need not be deterred from the first shush, but you need to look at the shush and say, you shush. I ain't holding back. I'm going to give y'all my all. I'm going to cry out even louder. Oh, when they got shushed, their shouts got louder. Hey! Sometimes, do you see it? It's in the text. I'm in there. They shout because they hear Jesus coming. They get shushed because the confused group of folks don't know what they're talking about. But isn't it wildly odd how the ones that can't even see? They were blind, but they weren't that blind. They couldn't physically see, but with their spiritual eyes, they could see all day long. Aren't you glad that there is a God that sees you even when you can't see? The Bible says that the crowd rebuked them and the blind men shout all the louder. Do I have anyone in here that is willing to turn up their shout? Do I have anyone in here that's willing to say, you need to upset because I need to get my healing? Is there anybody in here that's willing to turn up their shout a little louder when they get shushed? Look now, Sister Lynn. The shush attempts to separate and silence those that are looking for something different. Oh, I think there's some people that are looking for something different, and when Jesus comes on by, you're willing to turn up your shout and do what you need to do in order to get your needs met. Yeah, the shush attempts to separate and silence those that are looking for something different. Not everybody's looking for something different. You can follow Christ and yet not want something different. The second shout says, I ain't going, L3 style, I ain't going for the okie doke. The second shout says that I ain't going along just to get along. The second shout says that I'm not content living the rest of my life blind. Listen to this now. The shout is more than the verbal expression of making your voice louder. When people try to shush you, what are you going to do? Well, I'm so glad that there were folks that didn't sit down when they were shushed. I'm so glad that when I come from this kind of people found in my DNA, I'm so glad that I came from a persistent group of folks that pushed their way through life and ultimately made the sacrifice for you and for me. I'm so glad that I come from a persistent group of people that were not swayed by the I'm so glad that God gave me everything that I need to not be shushed. Don't let no one shush you and robbing your joy. Don't let nobody shush you from robbing you from your peace. Don't let no one shush you and robbing you of your happiness. Don't let nobody shush you and get from your healing. And when your shout becomes a little louder, oh, that's when your shift comes. That's when your shift comes. Your shift shapes and determines the trajectory, Mama Eddie, of your destiny. What I'm saying is, oh, when you shift, oh, you can't tell me what my God has done for me. You can't tell me that I can't go into here or I can't go into there. Oh, when you get your shift, things begin to change. Out of all the people with Jesus that day, all of the hustle and bustle, all of the folks with side conversations and murmuring and just talking amongst themselves, Jesus hears the blind man and asks them, what do you need me to do for you? And this is the question. This is the question of hope that each and every one of us receives from Jesus when we decide to shout out to him. And the good news is that he hears us and reaches out to us and touches us at our deepest need in life. The Bible says that once Jesus reaches out to touch the blind men, they immediately received their sight. And look at what they did. Their shift, they got their sight back. But what they begin to do is they begin to look around and they say, oh yeah, I like what I see. I like what I hear. I want to follow and do like everybody else. I want to follow Jesus because Jesus set me free. I'm going to follow Jesus because Jesus gave me my sight back. And now my shift is going to happen. In my shift, I rethink things. In my shift, I recalibrate things. In my shift, I understand things a little bit different. I reconnect. I get God right here because he healed me. He touched me and he moved within me. The shout, the shush, and the shift.